police units are dispatched to an active shooting at a metal factory. Upon arriving, they find at the entrance of the company Ty Thomas, an ex-employee who had recently quit his job by throwing his employee identification and keycard on his supervisor's desk during an argument with him. Ty is standing near the door of the building, attempting to shoot out the security cameras. When Ty sees police, he hops into his Ford Ranger and attempts to flee. The pursuit is a slow one, as Ty is driving like a drunk man, trying to stay within the lanes in the same way a toddler tries to stay within the lines of a coloring book. And yet, he's driving like that because he actually is a drunk man. And just as with most drunk drivers who flee the police, Ty eventually hits a dead end. After the police corner him, Ty then reverses his car, hitting 2 police cruisers in the process. In response, 3 officers alight from their vehicles and begin shooting into Ty's vehicle. Ty is subdued and taken to a hospital. As soon as Ty recovers, he's brought to the police station for interrogation.
Your truck is out at City Garage. We've got it inside because you had a lot of tools and stuff in it. Okay. We're just holding on to it until the prosecutor tells us.
Would my father-in-law be able to go over there and get the key to the van off of the keychain?
We can probably work something like that
He's
out. Yeah.
big kids.
I can work something like that out. Yeah, just have him call me on Captain Copeland.
Okay. Got a card?
I do. I'll get you one here for you.
While the atmosphere of this interrogation seems somewhat laid back and more casual than most of what we see on this channel, the interrogation actually has extremely important implications for the police force. Let's break it down. Ty's actions have earned him warrants for 1. Having weapons while intoxicated, 2. Discharging a weapon while at an occupied structure, and 3. Failure to comply with the order of a police officer, all of which are misdemeanors. The current interrogation has one major purpose: get Ty to confess to a felony. The felony in question is an assault on the responding officers as Ty hit 2 police cars during his escape. While this case sounds simple from a police perspective, in fact, much more than a confession lies on the line. You see, when Ty was being fired at in his car, he was hit twice, with 1 bullet nearly piercing his heart. An inch meant the difference between life or death for this single father. However, the police department immediately realized that the 3 officers could be tried for excessive use of force. Should Ty admit to an intentional assault on the officers with his vehicle, charges against these officers would more likely be dismissed. Hence, the detectives in this interrogation room are not just working to remove a dangerous man from society, but also to protect their own colleagues from losing their careers and possibly their freedom.
Wait on Alex, and we're both going to talk to you only because there's a lot of stuff Alex hasn't seen yet, okay? Some of the video and stuff. I mean, basically the principle here is you seem like a pretty regular guy right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously last Thursday you were going through something, okay? And the more we understand about that, and the more the prosecutor understands
I
about
mean,
that.
it's,
But, you know, I just want you to understand why we feel like it's important to talk to you, because everything we're hearing
because
is
you need to know.
you're just a pretty regular guy, you know?
That's I'm pretty much just a pretty regular guy. Just a regular guy that's been through a lot of shit lately.
Yeah. So, you know, that's what we're kind of looking for, is to get some idea where, what you were thinking, what you were seeing, what you were hearing.
First thing everyone knows is everybody okay.
Everybody,
Nobody's got hurt. none of the officers that were there got hurt. Everybody's good. Yeah.
Ty showing concern for the police is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it shows that he has compassion and perhaps remorse, which works in his favor during his sentencing, but on the other hand, it can imply a degree of admittance to the purported crime, which in this case is a felonious assault on the responding officers. The detectives will remember this and call back this statement should Ty deny backing his vehicle into the PD cars.
Alright, I know you already read through these, but I gotta do it again. Okay. So just yes or no if you understand. Before we ask you any questions, you must understand your rights. You have the right to remain silent, you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Anything you say can and will be used against you in court.
Yes.
You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask any questions, you understand?
Yes.
You have the right to have a lawyer with you during questioning.
Yes.
If you are unable to pay for a lawyer will be appointed for you prior to any question.
Yes.
If you desire. If you wish to answer the questions now without a lawyer present, you have the right to stop answering questions at any time.
Yes.
You also have the right to stop answering at any time until you talk to a lawyer.
Yes.
I've been read my rights, or have been read the statement of my rights written above. I understand. Is that true? If that's true, your signature there.
And you can look over those when he read to you there,
Yeah.
Ty, if you want. So maybe the easiest thing, if it's okay with you, is just start us when you left the house in Pittsburgh.
I was just, I had really been feeling a little bad and just really overwhelmed and depressed and I left the house. I don't 100% know what my intentions were. I mean, I know I didn't want to come back, and I sat in the parking lot of the bike path for a while until it got dark, and then I was spiraling real fast, and that's when I decided to go to Homework because I knew that it was second shift, and me, when I used to work there, second shift with our family, so I was actually going there to try and find Sean, you know, to get him to try and help me, and you know, then I couldn't say the right words or anything. I got ready to leave. I was leaving. And, I think I heard the police say stop, or somebody say stop, and then after that's when the police fired shots. So that's the basics of what I know 100%.
Let's back up a step to when you were there in Pickle. You had bought some beer?
Yeah,
Okay, what'd you buy?
Coors Light.
Okay, like a case or was it 15 pack? Okay. And were you drinking while you were sitting there?
Yeah.
In between Pickwa and Hobart, there's a place you stop out in the county on Orbison or on Peterson and Orbison.
Yeah, that's that.
There's a long lane that goes back to a farmer's house. You were back there between a couple barns.
No, I was in the parking lot for the bike path.
Okay, but after you left there, how did you travel to Troy?
I went, same way I usually go to work on 25A to Barrington. Okay.
Did you possibly go the wrong way and end up over on Peterson Road? There's a farmhouse back a long lane, and you go kind of past the farmhouse, and there's a couple barns over here, and the guy came out and you were parked between his barns. Do you remember that?
No. I mean, it's possible I went the wrong way, but I don't remember that at all.
Okay, alright.
The only thing I remember is I was at the
Yeah,
parking
he came
lot.
out and actually, like, hollered at you, and you drove away and back down the lane. Any of that ringing any bells?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
The only thing I remember is I left the parking lot and was heading for the shop
Okay.
so I could get Sean.
Okay, did you ask for Sean?
When I got to the shop,
Yeah.
I think I tried to, but I couldn't get his name out. I think I ended up asking for Shane
Okay,
instead.
okay.
But I'm not 100% sure. I think that's what I said.
Indeed, that is what he said. Ty had a coworker with whom he had become quite close. This coworker, by the name of Sean, had acted as emotional support for Ty. Ty had come to his former place of employment to seek Sean. Yet, when he got to the door, he could only produce the name Shane. In his drunken state, Ty might have otherwise been understood if it were not for the fact that a man by the name of Shane also worked at the facility. Shane, not Sean, was called by the staff at the door. Upon arriving, Shane was confused. For one, he was not very familiar with Ty and thus did not understand why Ty would be asking for him. But more confusing was the fact that once Shane had arrived, Ty began demanding Shane to go get Shane. Faced with this impossible task, Shane was dumbfounded. But once he saw a gun in Ty's hand, he closed and locked the door. It was then Ty began going crazy on the security cameras as if he were playing Rainbow Six Siege.
I know that I got frustrated because I couldn't say the right thing, and then I was trying to leave the shop. And that's when I heard stop, and I'm assuming that it was the police, and I don't know exactly what happened after that.
Do you have a pistol with you?
Yeah,
Okay, did you carry it up to the door with you?
I'm not 100% sure. I'm not going to say yes or no to that because I don't 100% know.
Okay. Do you remember taking a couple shots at the surveillance camera that's out there? Cause it's on video, it's you.
Yeah, I mean, if I did it, I did it. I don't 100% recall it. That's why I'm not going to say yes or no. I mean, it's possible.
You remember having the gun in your hand when you went up to the door?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. And do you remember who you talked to?
No, I don't. I know I hollered for Shane, and I was trying to holler for Sean.
Okay.
And Shane might have came to the door, but I think a couple of people were at the door.
Alright.
So I'm not even sure if Sean came out.
Okay. Well, what we can see on video is you talk to somebody and then you take a couple shots at the, surveillance camera, and then somebody else talks to you, and then you back up like you're going to go toward your truck and you shoot up into the building. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Okay. Alright. Do you remember when you got into your truck, the police came up behind you while you're parked in the parking lot and were ordering you out of the car?
I don't recall that. I recall I was trying to leave the shop and I heard stop. And I was assuming that's when the police were there. And then after that is when I remember the gunfire from the police.
Do you remember going from one end of King's Chapel to the other where you ran into a dead end?
No, I don't.
Do you remember turning in the street and hitting a mailbox?
No.
Okay.
I remember trying to drive.
Were you intoxicated?
Yeah.
Okay. How, on a drunk scale, 1 to 10, how drunk were you?
I don't know, and I don't know because I guess I was drunk, but I don't remember drinking that much.
Okay. How many do you think you drank?
4 or 5?
Okay. Taking any medication or any illegal drugs?
No, not that I know of. I mean, in the morning, I had taken my Adderall and my lisinopril, and the generic Dayquil
Huh.
I usually take. But I don't think I took anything that afternoon or that evening.
Do you use illegal drugs?
No,
Do you smoke marijuana?
I do a little bit of it.
Okay, did you smoke any marijuana that day?
No,
Use any meth?
no.
Okay. Have you had a bladder infection or UTI or kidney stone or any of that stuff?
I've had problems with kidney stones. Yeah, I just had a kidney stone removed not that long ago. I passed a kidney stone.
But you aren't taking any medication, you haven't had any problems?
No, I haven't. The only thing I've been taking is I take my Adderall and my lisinopril in the morning, and if my sinuses are messed up, I'll take the generic Dayquil, or I'll take ibuprofen. That's the only thing I take. I don't take anything else.
Do you remember firing any shots while you were in the truck?
No, not that I can recall.
Okay. How many guns did you have with you?
I think I had, my 45 was in the truck, and I had my 9mm. I had that.
Which gun did you carry up to the door of the Hobart?
I don't know.
Where was the 45 at?
It was probably under the passenger seat of the truck.
Okay. What was the purpose of having the gun?
I always have one. I just always carry.
Okay. Do you have a CCW for
Yes,
that?
I do.
Okay. All right. And did you intend to harm yourself, to end your life that night?
Yeah.
Okay. And was it your plan to do that by your own hand or to have the police do that?
I don't know.
Did you have a plan?
I didn't really have a plan. I just know I didn't want to go home.
Okay. Are you aware that there's like 3 police officers, 4 or 5 behind you when you cross West Main Street onto Kings Chapel? You're aware that there were police officers behind you when you went over the curb and onto the street from Hobart?
What was it, curving on the street from Hobart?
Out of the parking lot, you went forward, over the curb, down through the grass, and onto the street.
I don't even know where I made it to. I just know when I was leaving Hobart, I got in the truck.
You heard the police tell you to stop there.
I heard somebody say stop then.
Yeah.
And then the shots being fired, and that's all I remember.
You don't remember running into a police car?
No.
Do you remember running into 2 police cars?
No.
Well, when we sat down here, I'm not trying to be a dick, and I do appreciate your cooperation, but the first thing you asked me was whether any police officers got hurt.
Because I knew there was police, and the police shot at me, so I wanted to make sure that nobody got hurt.
Well, how would they get hurt shooting at you?
I don't know. I just wanted to make sure everybody was okay.
You remember when we sat down here, what I explained to you was that we're trying to get your mind set.
I know.
And
I'm telling you what I remember,
Okay.
you know, and everybody, from what I heard, everybody was making it sound real serious, and I don't know exactly what happened, you know, so I wanted to make sure that everybody was okay. It's all, I mean, it is real serious, but, you know, I don't know how to explain it. I'm telling you what I remember. And that's what I remember.
Okay. Well, that's, like I said, that's what we're trying to get, okay? And so when I tell you things, I'm trying to jog your memory, okay? But you'll try to see it from my side when the
I know.
first thing you ask is, were all the police officers okay? That makes kind of everybody, from the judge to the
Well,
prosecutor.
I did hear a little bit about it, other than what I remembered
How'd you hear about it?
from my girlfriend. When I talked to her, she's like saying, "Do you even know what you did?" And, you know, "Do you feel sorry about what you did?" And So I assumed that there had to be something.
Before the incident, Ty's girlfriend had called the police, documenting Ty's disappearance from his residence. Ty's girlfriend, a nurse, became worried that Ty had become suicidal and informed the police in hopes to stop Ty before he did anything stupid. Ironically, she eventually did find Ty because Ty was transported to her place of work with a bullet in his chest. Talk about a sad way to find your lost boyfriend. Though admittedly, this is not as sad as Shane is as a person. Shame on you, Shane.
What did she tell you did?
She didn't tell me anything what I did. She said, well, you have felony warrants or you have felony charges on the access thing. So she didn't exactly tell me anything I did. She mentioned shooting up Hobart. I'm like, okay, well, I don't remember that. So.
I guess you believe it's true,
I mean,
since it's on video.
well, if it's on video, then yeah. So I'm just saying I don't remember all of that.
Well, the officer telling you to stop occurred after the shooting at Hobart, okay? And the officer shooting at you happened after the entire little pursuit, okay? So, you know, this is the,
I don't know. I know I got in the truck. I know I was trying to leave Hobart. I don't know how far I got after I got in the truck. My shift indicator doesn't work, so I know I was struggling to put it in gear. That's when I was hearing stop, and then the last thing I remember is the shooting. So,
you don't remember hitting two police cars.
no, I don't.
Go ahead, Al.
Do you remember at what point that because if you remember the gunshots, I'm just trying to figure out if you remember right
I
after
remember
the gunshots.
Talking to somebody at the door, and then I remember being frustrated because I couldn't get out what I wanted to say. I kept saying the wrong thing. So then this one I remember getting in the truck and trying to leave. I don't know where I was going, but I don't know how far I made it after I got in the truck and started going. I know that's when I heard stop, and then after stop, I mean, as I'm remembering, it does seem like long between somebody saying stop and, my vehicle stopping and the police shooting.
Do you remember where your car was? Where were you at when the shots happened? Do you remember?
I think I was in the truck. At least that's.
The other question I just kind of want to back up to, and I'm kind of bouncing all over the place, but if we would go to your house, is your Adderall almost gone? Did you take a bunch of it?
No, I didn't take a bunch of it. No, it should be almost gone.
Well, and the reason why I'm asking is you're definitely intoxicated just from the video that we can see.
Yeah.
And the state that you seem to be in the video, I'm trying to figure out. Because only 5 beers, 6 beers isn't going to make you that way. So I'm wondering if you were talking about you didn't want to come home, so I didn't know if there was a potential thought of suicide.
No, I take my Adderall in the morning. I'm prescribed for 2 a day. And I typically only take it in the morning. So I'm usually behind on picking the prescription up. But yeah, I haven't been taking 2 a day for a while. So
Okay, so what was I know you said you were asking for Shane, but you sounded like you were saying that you were thinking Sean.
I was trying to ask for Sean.
And what's the relevance of Sean?
He's just my best friend
Okay.
there, so I was trying to get him for help because I knew I was spiraling real quick, and that was the closest place. You know, I just went to a familiar place with familiar people.
And you don't remember shooting at the building at all?
I don't remember shooting at the building at all.
What's your mindset that you carry Sean is your best friend and you feel like you're in need of help, why carry a gun up to the door with you?
I don't know.
Where do you keep your 9mm normally?
Normally it's on my hip, but if I'm in the truck, it's usually in the console, armrest.
So you normally have 2 guns in the car?
My 45 typically stays in the truck, and then I normally carry my 9mm. If I'm at work, I usually don't have my 9mm with me, since I have a truck. But
So I guess what I'm asking is when you left the house thinking that you weren't going to come back, did you carry the 9mm out to the truck with you?
probably,
And was it fully loaded? Do you know how many bullets it had in it?
I keep a full magazine in it.
What's your full magazine for that gun?
12, I think.
It's a Taurus, is that right?
Yeah.
And you hadn't been anywhere shooting earlier that day?
Not that I know of.
So to your knowledge, it would have been a full magazine.
Yeah.
Or could there have been spent shell casings in your truck from other?
I don't know.
And you don't remember how close to your truck you were when you were shooting at the building because you don't remember shooting at the building?
Yeah. I don't. I mean, the thing that I remember was being at the door, talking to them, and then going to the truck and trying to leave.
So basically, again, not to upset you, but basically you don't remember any of the bad stuff that happened.
I mean,
You remember that you
Before and after.
You remember that you left the house and you weren't planning on coming back. You remember that you went to your old place of work and that you had the gun, but you don't remember shooting it. You remember that somebody told you to stop, but you don't remember the police behind you in the dark with their lights on in the parking lot, and you overtly driving out the wrong way of the parking lot, over the curb, through the grass, onto the street. The cops following you with their sirens on and their lights on, you don't remember any of that.
no, I think I want to stop answering questions now.
Okay.
I can't answer questions I don't know the answer to.
Well, you understand what
I understand what you're saying, and I'm sorry, I don't know.
Will you cooperate with some fingerprinting here?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll get that rolling, Adam.
I think you do my office. Just hang kind of different, you know.
There'll be an investigator from BCI that's going to come and talk to you at the jail. He's the guy that'll be able to release the key.
Okay.
And I expect he'll come over Monday or something to try to talk to you. That's, the Bureau of Criminal Investigation. They're working the actual shooting part of this, okay? How many children do you have?
Hmm?
How many children do you have? 5.
He went and took a call, so I'm waiting for him to respond back.
Well, where's he taking a call at?
I just sent him a text, I'm waiting. Or I'll call him on the radio.
Or I can. What's Tracy? Tracy, you wanna help Alex fingerprint this guy?
I can, yeah.
Okay, do you have plans? You sure you got time?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, alright, put your bag down.
Yeah, I'll do this in my office here real quick.
I appreciate your cooperation, Ty. And these gentlemen will take care of getting your fingerprints and your picture, and then, they'll get you right over to the county, alright?
While this concludes the interrogation, there's still more to this story. Importantly, I am unable to share the footage of the incident itself because YouTube has previously demonetized my videos for much less. Though I considered not doing so, I will give my opinion on the event as I saw it. As a disclaimer of my potential bias, 2 of my family members are police officers. In my opinion, the so-called ramming of the PD cars seemed more like a drunken accident than an intentional assault. I do not believe that the drivers of the car were in any serious physical danger from Ty's reversing his vehicle, provided that they stayed in their cars. However, Ty did have a firearm and he refused to comply with officers. So, if these officers were fearing for their lives, I believe they were doing so for these reasons and not because of how Ty was manipulating his vehicle. Overall, in my personal opinion, the subsequent volley of bullets from the 3 officers did not seem to be an equivalent level of force relative to Ty's vehicular assault. Suffice to say that the officers in the cars were not injured, though they did claim to suffer psychological damage.
My quality of life has greatly diminished, and I am hyper-vigilant.
Mr. Thomas rammed my cruiser without hesitation. I didn't ask for this. Mr. Thomas had complete disregard for the law, for everybody else that night. It was the first time in my career that I felt I might not be returning home to my family.
All 3 officers were placed on administrative leave during an investigation into their conduct. 1 eventually resigned, and the other 2 ultimately returned to work. Ty Thomas ultimately pleaded guilty to the felony charges and was given 6 to 7.5 years behind bars. In the end, I think this whole ordeal could have been avoided if it were not for Shane. Go to hell, Shane. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. Peace out, Wildcats.